Chapter 21. Goodbye, Violet. This gum, Mr. Wonka went on, is my latest, my greatest, my most fascinating invention. It's a chewing gum meal. It's, it's, that tiny little strip of gum laying there is a whole 3-course dinner all by itself. What sort of nonsense is this? Said one of the fathers. My dear sir, cried Mr. Wonka, when I start selling this gum in the shops, it will change everything. It will be the end of all kitchens and all cooking. There will be no more marketing to do. No more buying of meats and groceries. There'll be no knives and forks at mealtimes. No plates, no washing up, no garbage, no mess. Just a little strip of Wonka's magic chewing gum. And that's all you'll ever need at breakfast, lunch, and supper. This piece of gum I've just made happens to be tomato soup, roast beef, and blueberry pie. But you can have almost anything you want. What do you mean? It's tomato soup, roast beef, and blueberry pie? Said Violet. If you were to start chewing it, said Mr. Wonka, then that is exactly what you would get on the menu. It's absolutely amazing. You can actually feel the food going down your throat and into your tummy, and you can taste it perfectly, and it fills you up. It satisfies you. It's terrific. It's utterly impossible, said Veruca. Just so long as it's gum, shouted Violet. Just so long as it's a piece of gum and I can chew it. And then that's for me. And quickly she took her own world record piece of chewing gum out of her mouth and stuck it behind her left ear. Come on, Mr. Wonka, she said. Hand over this magic gum of yours, and we'll see if this thing works. Now, Violet, said her mother, don't do anything silly. I want the gum, Violet said. What's so silly? I would rather you didn't take it, Mr. Wonka told her gently. You see, I haven't got it quite right yet. There are still 1 or 2 things. Oh, to heck with that, said Violet. And suddenly, before Mr. Wonka could stop her, she shot out a fat hand and grabbed the stick of gum out of the little drawer and popped it in her mouth. At once, her huge, well-trained jaws started chewing away on it like a pair of tongs. Don't, said Mr. Wonka. Fabulous, shouted Violet. It's tomato soup. It's hot and creamy and delicious. I can feel it running down my throat. Stop, said Mr. Wonka. The gum isn't ready yet. It's not right. Of course it's right, said Violet. It's working beautifully. Oh my, what lovely soup is this? Spit it out, said Mr. Wonka. It's changing, shouted Violet, chewing and grinning both at the same time. The second course is coming. It's roast beef. It's tender and juicy. Oh boy, what a flavor. The baked potato is marvelous too. It's got a crisp skin, and it's all filled with butter inside. But how interesting, Violet, said her mother. You are a clever girl. Keep chewing, kiddo, she said. Keep right on chewing, baby. This is a great day for us. Our little girl's the first person in the world to have a chewing gum meal. Everybody was watching Violet as she stood there chewing this extraordinary gum. Little Charlie was staring at her absolutely spellbound, watching her huge rubbery lips as she pressed and unpressed with the chewing, and Grandpa Joe stood beside him, gaping at the girl. Mr. Wonka was wringing his hands and saying, No, 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 no. It isn't ready for eating. It isn't right. You mustn't do it. Blueberry pie and cream, shouted Violet. Here it goes. Here it comes. Oh my, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's exactly as though I'm swallowing it. It's as though I'm chewing and swallowing great big spoonfuls of the most marvelous blueberry pie in the world. Good heavens, shrieked her mother suddenly, staring at Violet. What's happening to your nose? Oh, be quiet, Mother, and let me finish, said Violet. It's turning blue, her mother screamed. Your nose is turning blue as a blueberry. Your whole nose has gone purple. What do you mean, said Violet, still chewing away. Your cheeks, she screamed. They're turning blue as well. So is your chin. Your whole face is turning blue. Spit that gum out at once, she ordered. Mercy, save us. The girl's going blue and purple all over. Even her hair is changing color. Violet, you're turning violet. What is happening to you? I told you I haven't got it quite right, sighed Mr. Wonka, shaking his head sadly. I'll say you haven't, cried her mother. Just look at the girl now. Everybody was staring at Violet, and what a terrible, peculiar sight she was. Her face and hands and legs and neck, in fact, the skin all over her body, as well as her great big mop of curly hair, had turned a brilliant purplish blue, the color of blueberry juice. It always goes wrong when we come to the dessert, sighed Mr. Wonka. It's the blueberry pie that does it. But I'll get it right one day. You wait and see. Violet, her mother screamed. You're swelling up. I feel sick, Violet said. You're swelling up, she screamed again. I feel most peculiar, gasped Violet. I'm not surprised. Great heavens, girl. You're blowing up like a balloon. Like a blueberry, said Mr. Wonka. Call a doctor, shouted her mother. Prick her with a pen, said one of the fathers. Save her, cried her mother, wringing her hands. But there was no saving her now. Her body was swelling up and changing shape at such a rate that within a minute it had turned into nothing less than an enormous round blue ball. A gigantic blueberry, in fact. And all that remained of Violet herself was a tiny pair of legs and a tiny pair of arms sticking out of the great round fruit, and a little head on top. It always happens like that, sighed Mr. Wonka. I've tried it 20 times in the tasting room on 20 Oompa Loompas, and every one of them finished up as a blueberry. It's most annoying. I just can't understand it. But I don't want a blueberry for a daughter. Put her back to what she is, this instant. Mr. Wonka clicked his fingers, and 10 Oompa Loompas appeared immediately at his side. Roll her mother into the boat, he said to them, and take her along to the juicing room at once. The juicing room? What are they going to do there? Squeeze her, Mr. Wonka said. We've got to squeeze the juice out of her immediately. After that, we'll just have to see how she comes out. But don't worry, we'll get her repaired if it's the last thing we do. I am sorry about it. I really am. Already, the 10 Oompa Loompas were rolling the enormous blueberry across the floor of the inventing room toward the door that led to the chocolate river, where the boat was waiting. The rest of the party, including little Charlie Bucket and Grandpa Joe, stood absolutely still and watched them go. Listen, whispered Charlie. Listen, Grandpa. The Oompa Loompas in the boat outside are starting to sing. The voices of 100 of them singing together came loud and clear into the room. Dear friend, we surely all agree there's almost nothing worse to see than some repulsive little bum who's always chewing gum. It's very, very near as bad as those who sit it around and pick the nose. So please believe us when we say that chewing gum will never pay. This sticky habit's bound to send the chewer to a sticky end. Did any of you ever know a person called Miss Bigelow? This dreadful woman saw no wrong in chewing all day long. She chewed while bathing in the tub. She chewed while dancing at her club. She chewed in church and on the bus. It really was quite ludicrous. And when she couldn't find her gum, she chewed up the linoleum, or anything that happened near, a pair of boots the postman's ear, or other people's underclothes. And once she chewed her boyfriend's nose, she went on chewing till, at last, her chewing muscles grew so vast that from her face her giant chin stuck out like a violin. For years and years she chewed away, consuming 50 packs a day, until one summer's eve, alas, a horrid business came to pass. Miss Bigelow went to bed. For half an hour she lay and read, chewing and chewing all the while, like some great clockwork crocodile. At least she put her gum away upon a special little tray, and settled back and went to sleep. She managed this by counting sheep. But now, how strange, although she slept, those massive jaws of hers still kept on chewing and chewing through the night, even with nothing there to bite. They were, you see, in such a groove, they positively had to move. And very grim it was to hear, in pitch darkness, loud and clear, this sweet sleeping woman's great big trap, opening and shutting, snap, 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 faster and faster, chomp, chomp, chomp. The noise went on, it wouldn't stop, until at last her jaws decided to pause and open extra wide, and with the most tremendous chew, they bit the lady's tongue in two. Thereafter, just from chewing gum, Miss Bigelow was always dumb. and spent her life shut up in some disgusting sanatorium. And that is why we'll try so hard to save Miss Violet from suffering an equal fate. She's still quite young. It's not too late. Provided she survives the cure. We hope she does. We can't be sure.